All right, how's everyone today? Well, welcome. My name is Mitch Ballard. I'm the executive director for the BMI office in Austin, Texas, and since 1939, BMI's job has been to track radio royalties, collect those royalties, and distribute them to songwriters like Robert Earl Keen. And we are incredibly proud to have called Robert Earl a member of the BMI family his entire career. This is a very special day, and this is a very special town. You know, Robert wrote the majority of his music on a 2,000-foot hill called the Scriptatorium, not far from where we are today. In fact, the 1998 song, Feeling Good Again, mentions Bandera's legendary Arky Blues. Today, we're here to celebrate a milestone. Robert Earl Keen's Gringo Honeymoon album marks an incredible 30th anniversary this year, a testament to his enduring impact. It's a testament to his enduring impact on the Texas music scene. We have another fan. Robert Earl, he's a true Texas legend with deep roots in Bandera and has long been celebrated for his storytelling prowess and the unique blend of genres that defines his sound. And Gringo Honeymoon is more than just an album. It's a piece of Texas history, capturing the spirit of the Lone Star State. And as we celebrate 3 decades of this iconic album, we also honor Robert Earl's profound influence on Texas music and his lasting legacy as one of the state's most beloved troubadours. Congratulations, Robert Earl, and once again, thank you for being part of the BMI family your entire career. Up next, we have Jackie Perkins, and she is the president of the Bandera County Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Jackie.
Thank you very much, Mitch. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's event. The Bandera County of Chamber, as you were just told, as I'm president, and on behalf of the Chamber and our ambassadors, I would like to thank you, the City of Bandera, the Bandera County Economic Development Corporation, and everyone behind the scenes that made this event a success today. A special thank you goes out to Robert Earl for taking time out of his busy schedule to be here today as we celebrate his amazing career. Please allow me to introduce you to Steve Ray. He is, Steve is the program specialist from the Office of the Texas Governor's Texas Music Office.
All right, thank you. I brought props. 1984, I was working at a college record store in Arlington, Texas, and I bought this record. Then I was going to see Robert Earl Keen at Poor David's Pub, Fatso's in Arlington. And then later, when my wife and I moved into our first house, Gringo Honeymoon was the soundtrack while we were painting the walls, cleaning the floors, all that stuff, which is a way of saying I'm very privileged to read this letter from the governor of Texas. I am proud to recognize this milestone. Alongside your fans, friends, and family, I applaud the impact that Gringo Honeymoon has made on Texas culture. A world-class performer and songwriter, you've earned your rightful place as a Texas legend and connected with untold thousands in concert and on the airwaves. You've given so much to our state, and I have full faith that your music will live on long after we are gone. Yours is a distinctly Texan brand of music making, and this beloved style is on full display in the iconic Gringo Honeymoon album. A true tour de force, Gringo Honeymoon has been hailed by fans and critics alike as a masterpiece. And the album has stood the test of time. As you commemorate the album's 30th anniversary, I hope you will take a moment to reflect upon the role you have played in the story as big as Texas. The celebration in Bandera will no doubt be a time of great joy. As you reminisce with fans and recreate the classic album cover, know that Texas celebrates with you. First Lady Cecilia Abbott joins Governor Abbott in extending warmest wishes to you and yours. Signed, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. Right. And Texas Music Office is doing a event at the Americana Conference in Nashville on September 19th on the roof of the Bobby Hotel. It's free. All y'all are invited. Robert Earl is our headliner, so come on down. Now I'd like to introduce Josie Evans of Ohio Silver, board member of the Bandera County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and a Bandera's music-friendly community from our Texas Music Office.
Howdy, everybody. It's an honor to be here today to celebrate Robert Earl Keen. He's been a staple in my life. Growing up here, his music has been a soundtrack to my life. So on behalf of Ohio Silver and fans from across the world, we'd like to present this handmade sterling silver belt buckle to celebrate 30 years of the album release, Gringo Honeymoon. Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for capturing the spirit of our town, the Switzerland of Texas, the free state of Bandera, the cowboy capital of the world.
There you go. Good one. It's like I could clip it on here and put my money in here. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
It's a
very much.
pleasure. Yes, good. What's next? Yeah.
So up next we have from the Bandera City Chamber of Commerce, James Hernandez.
What a fine day this has turned out to be. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to our Chamber Directors Ambassadors for coming today. Our beloved state of Texas has given us some of the greatest songwriters of all time, and without a doubt, Robert Earl Keen is one of the greatest songwriters in Texas lore. So over the years, Robert, we know you've received many awards and accolades, and with that in mind, the Bandera County Chamber of Commerce wanted to present a gift today that is uniquely Texan and uniquely Banderan. And immediately one person came to mind for this job, and that is Esther Benedict. Her metal art sculptures can be found all over Bandera County and around the world, and she poured her heart and soul into crafting this special gift that we would like to now present to you. So Robert, please accept this gift from the Bandera County Chamber of Commerce as a heartfelt welcome home from all of us here in Bandera.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, is it in tune?
He said I should come up. So
All
here I
right,
go.
yeah, absolutely. You made this?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. God, I'll have to get another roadie to
I'm not
carry
sure
this
it
around.
sounds very good,
Yeah. This is awesome. Where do we want to put this down?
Yeah, we'll sit it down for you.
Okay, great, James.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
So now I'd like to introduce our mayor of the city of Bandera, Rebecca Gibson.
How's that? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, James, and it's been really a pleasure to be here and watching everybody thank and honor Robert. Um, I would also like to thank our lovely hosts, the Texas Salt Company, for letting us set up here today on this beautiful day. We've had folks on the planning committee. We've had 11th Street Cowboy Bar with the painting of their building to match the album cover. Sponsoring organization, the Chamber of Commerce. So thank you all so much. What I have today is a gift to Robert, and one of the things is, of course, a proclamation in the nature of a true Texas mayor, but the other is a gift that I had made for Robert. A friend of mine suggested I give Robert the key to the city, and I thought, but this is Bandera. We got a branding iron instead. So, thank you, Kim. You can, well, you don't have to get up multiple times, but I'll tell you, you can brand your steak. Use it. Exactly. And I will. You want to join me up here,
Yeah, sure.
so I can read this to you because
Okay, yeah.
I wrote it for you.
Okay, thank you.
And let me get my readers together and get into this microphone again. Okay. This is a proclamation in recognition of Robert Earl Keen for the 30th anniversary of Gringo Honeymoon. Whereas the city of Bandera embraces both our historical and modern cultural legacies. You'd be the modern,
Okay.
not the historical. Today we gather to honor Robert Earl Keen and the 30th anniversary of his iconic album, Gringo Honeymoon. Whereas Gringo Honeymoon was Robert Earl Keen's fourth album at that time, and here 30 years later, he has now blessed us with 21 records of audible greatness. And whereas in the mid-90s and beyond, Robert Earl Keen contributed to the galvanization of Americana, a genre of music defined as a tapestry of roots-oriented sound incorporating threads of country, folk, blues, soul, bluegrass, gospel, and rock. Whereas true to his roots, native Texan Robert Earl Keen was and is a pioneer of Americana, and he celebrates this art form through his creative music making and through other collaborations like the Americana podcast, where he dedicates his energy to the sharing and exploring of the genre's creatives. And whereas because of Robert Earl Keen's time in Bandera, many feel a special connection to and pride for him, his music, and his success. Gringo Honeymoon's album cover depicts an image of Robert holding his guitar, looking over at an old friend, the late Domingo Arizola, fondly known as Mingo. Robert is sitting on a familiar bench on a familiar street in front of a familiar little juke joint in our beloved Bandera, Texas. Now, therefore, I, Rebecca Gibson, Mayor of the City of Bandera, by virtue of the laws vested in me by the City of Bandera and by the state of Texas, do hereby recognize Robert Earl Keen as one of Texas's finest singer-songwriters by the City of Bandera. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you so
That's
much.
for you.
You want me to speak? or
Would you like to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
a moment?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to speak now. Okay. First, I want to question you, Rebecca. What laws are we talking about here? I've not become familiar with some of those. I'm sure. I do count Bandera as one of the turning points in my career. I have two stories. One was when we first moved here. My wife picked out a house and called me. She said, "I bought a house." I said, "Wait a minute, I can't even pay for the gas that I'm doing to drive back from Nashville." And she says, "Well, we can figure out how to buy this house." So she bought a house. So I came down here, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was one of those blue northern days, and the sky was really low and really blue, and there wasn't a car. There was one car on the street from Main Street all the way down to the grocery store down there, right there down that corner. And I was thinking about this old Michael Murphy song about how this Dixie cup comes flying across this empty street. And about that time, this Dixie cup comes flying across this empty street. And I thought, Either that's a good sign or a bad sign. And when I said, I've been telling everybody to speak into the microphone, look what I did. Anyway, I was just thinking about this Dixie cup, and it blows across the thing, and I think, oh no, I don't think that's really a good sign. I think this is a really bad sign. So I thought, what am I going to do now? I don't have really a job. I don't have a career. I'm just going to sit around. So I sat around in my little hovel there in our new house that I didn't even know how we were going to pay for. And all of a sudden, somebody called me up from Green Hall. They said, listen, we heard that you had moved back from Nashville. We lived there for almost 2 years. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, would you like to come play? I'd give you 2 days a week all during the summer. And I said, Mary Jo, I don't think I want to do that because I'm afraid I might overexpose myself playing 2 days a week. And then I hung up and I thought, that was the stupidest thing that I've ever said in my life. And I've said a lot of stupid things. And I thought, I'll call her back. I called her back. I said, 2 days? She goes, yes, I'll take them. She says, you want 3? I said, I'll take them. And I said, okay. So I started driving back and forth from Green Hall to here. But being in Bandera changed really everything for me, because had I moved to, say, Houston or Austin, I would have just been in that mixed up fray here. But here in Bandera, like everybody knows, and like we talk about in the laws here in this proclamation, you could pretty much be who you want to be. And I got to be who I wanted to be here. I got to just write the songs that I wanted to write. I've been trying to write these crazy songs like in Nashville, like hit songs like what I wrote called The Salmon Chair Has No Name. I don't know what that means, but I thought it was a hit at the time when I was in Nashville. Someone told me it wasn't a hit. But anyway, I won't sing it for you today. But this was when I sat down and I thought, well, what does this mean for me? And that's when I had met this man named Mariano Luna, who was helping my father-in-law work on some cement things. And I thought the world of Mariano. He was so good with anything. He could make an entire swimming pool with a nail and a string. I'm not kidding you. And so I thought, I'm going to write this song about Mariano. And I wrote that song, and it was just this magical transition from like straining too hard to try to write hit songs in Nashville, trying to, do the dance that they do. And I love Nashville, by the way, but the fact was I didn't know how to work it. I didn't know what to do. And when I got here, my mind just opened up, and I just wrote what I wanted to write. And from then on, I wrote what I wanted to write and what I knew about. And what I knew about was this town right here in Bandera, Texas, the cowboy capital of the world. So it really was a turning point in my life. And the people and the friends that I made here were always just so supportive. And, we were in that building right next to Mingo's building. And so when we made Gringo Honeymoon, I thought, well, let's just, go on with what I have. I'm writing songs about Bandera. Let's just get some pictures of what it's like here. So, I sat there on that little bench there, and it just like a magical miracle that Mingo walks out in the street and starts singing this corrido. And it was just this great moment in time. And the person that was doing the pictures captured that. And it was one of my favorite all-time albums, because it just came together, and it had nothing to do with like setting up a picture. It was just me sitting there playing my guitar and Mingo coming out there and just singing in key and whoa, that kind of thing. It was so beautiful. And the other story I want to tell about, because people ask me about this all the time, was not on this record, but Feeling Good Again was about after I'd been here for a while, and I knew a lot of people. I would come into town, and it was like my decompression chamber, because I'd come into town and I think, oh, I'll go home. It'd be about 10 o'clock at night. And then I think, oh, I don't want to go home at 10 o'clock at night. It'll be too weird. I'll wake my wife up. She'll start asking me questions. So I would go over there to Arky's, and I'd sit down there, and we'd talk about songs and watch Arky tip off his drink. Just, he'd get down that low on his little glass, and then he'd tip it off, You've seen it. If you've been there, you've seen that. Yeah, and so she kind of caught on to my little trick there after a while, and then she would know that I was coming in town, and she'd come down those stairs, and see me, and I'd think I was going to get my ass chewed out. But the fact is like she just wanted to come down there and drink a beer with everybody else and hang out and talk about, what we were talking about. Yeah, my wife, Kathleen. And it was one of those things that, it turned out to be one of those songs that people have interpreted it from everything for what it was being in a bar and seeing your loved one come in to actually, bringing it into more of a spiritual nature where everything in your life is there and it's perfect. And that's what I thought I was trying to capture. And I felt like, after I wrote that song, I didn't think much about it, but how other people explained it to me, I realized that it captured more than just some people sitting in a bar. It was talking about your life and how your life had come to this moment in time where everything was feeling good again. Thank you.
What a special moment to have you share those stories with us, Robert. Thank you. So, speaking of story, we did carve out a special little time here in case there are any friends of Robert's from old time Bandera that might want to come up and say hello and tell a story. I see a nod in the crowd. I'm going to call on my friend over here, Mr. Lee Winwright, local talent himself. Come on up, Lee. Thank you.
So, 30 years? Right. So, 31 years ago ish, I was pretty much homeless. I had one pair of blue jeans and a purple button up shirt. My head was shaved on the side and a long ponytail. And I got this offer out of the Bandera Bulletin. Roadie / road manager needed for Robert Earl Keen band. And I went in for the interview looking terrible. Absolutely terrible. And Robert came in. He had just drove, I think, all the way from Miami that day, I believe, by yourself. And so we were both looking a little terrible. And I was sitting on the couch over here at the old office, and Robert came in, kind of looked across the room, and said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Lee Winwright. I'm here for the interview." And we sat down together, and we talked about music. And he said, "Have you ever heard of me?" I said, "Probably the greatest thing I've ever said in my life." I said, "I know your songs for sure. Now, putting your name with your songs, I might have a problem." And you said, "Sir, that's the best answer out of 7 applicants that I've heard." And I just want to touch back on what Robert said about this town. Robert, you made me who I am. And I really appreciate that. You introduced me to some of the finest people I've ever met in the music business. And I just want to thank you.
All right, friends, don't be shy. Any other takers? Story time? Oh, come on up here, Lynn. Councilwoman Lynn Palmer, everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm just very, very excited that Robert has come back home. I knew Robert well in the 1990s, and one of my very favorite songs off the Gringo Honeymoon album is "Merry Christmas from the Family." And Robert always gives back to his community and his fans. And in 1999, when Thurman Love owned the Cabaret, Kathleen and Robert hosted a party for the community of Bandera, and it was "Merry Christmas from the Family" at the Cabaret. And I was honored enough to be a guest. When you walked into the Cabaret, it was just elaborately decorated like a Christmas tree. There was gourmet dining and gourmet food. And we even got a sneak peek of Lyle Lovett coming in the back of the cabaret. And they were very interested in including the children in Bandera as well. They had a section set up for all the kids in the community with fake snow. It was real snow, and all the kids were playing in the snow. And I'm just very happy to have you back in our community, Robert. Thank you very much.
Okay, it looks like we've got Diana Walters of the First National Ice House. Thank you.
I had no idea that she was going to call people up from the audience, so I didn't even think about this, but I'm sitting here in the front row, and I thought, well, what the hell? It's Robert Earl. So we actually go back a very long way, and you have no idea, and I actually brought a picture from about 1989. And this is what you looked like in about 1989, and this is about what I looked like then with my nephew, and this is at Billy Bob's, and we were all there watching you. Yeah, look at this.
Ooh, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
Who
Who is that guy?
Yeah, I know.
And who is that young woman there
Yeah, I
that
know,
is now
kidding.
not?
Yeah.
Anyway. The other part of the story is that I worked in Houston at an oil and gas company, and it was go-go times then. This was like pre-Enron, and you could kind of do anything. And so we decided to have a Christmas party. And so we had a Christmas party, and we hired Robert Earl. I got a hold of his agent, and I don't remember what we paid. It was way too much money for you at the time, but we had about 30, 50 people at this Italian restaurant somewhere in Shepherd and West Gray, for those of you who are in Houston. And nobody knew who he was other than me. Nobody at the party knew who he was. But we had a blast. We partied down, and we had the best time. I think it might even before you played the Christmas song, but it didn't matter. But I just wanted to thank you. My whole family has been, part of your music. My dad died at 91, and one of the last songs he listened to was Merry Christmas with the Family. And he didn't care if it was Christmas or not. But you're a tribute to this state, you're a tribute to this town, and we are just thrilled to have you here. Thank you.
All right, folks, is there anybody else that'd like to come up here before we mosey on down the street? Okay, please. I don't know how to introduce you. Will you introduce yourself for us?
Nancy.
Come on up, Nancy.
I'm Nancy Carnoy. I have the local tanning salon. I don't know you, Robert Earl Keen. I've never met you before. I've seen you. I've watched you, but I got to tell you this story. I used to work for a prison, and it was during the time that the road was on forever, but the party never ends. I had to sub a class that was a substance abuse class, and I didn't know how to do that. I've never had a substance abuse problem. So I brought in a cassette player, and I played that song for them. They all got up and cheered. The road goes on forever, and the party never ends. And that's just, that will always be my story about you. Thank you for paying attention.
Looks like we've got time for one more, and I have the honor of introducing Cowboy Craig.
Hey guys, Robert and I have some history. I think he might be older than me. Anyway, he's got a beautiful family. Claire came, I had Oreo, and for 2 years she came to Mansfield Park, and if she wasn't on Oreo, somebody else was. She was petting him. She was so polite, so wonderful, and a lot of people that I'd say he was a great asset to Bandera, Texas, and to the people that's come into his life. He's been a wonderful friend to me, and his family is wonderful, and I think we're lucky to have him as a Banderian.
All right, buddy. Great to see you. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's time for 11th Street Cowboy Bars, Richard and Sasha Sutton, Melanie Ivy, and Dee Foster to come on up and introduce us to where we're going next. Okay? Come on, Melody.
Yeah. Well, number one, I want to thank you guys for coming today. We have worked feverishly. Sasha Sutton picked out the paint colors, matched them to the album cover, Gringo Honeymoon. We debated on it. We argued a little bit like we always do, put a lot of love and blood, sweat, and tears into it. And the new sign and the classic white with the bluish gray trim match what it was in Gringo Honeymoon. So I want to thank again everybody. This has been an incredible 2 years for us to live here. There's an incredible amount of history. This is only one small fraction, but a big fraction of the history of Bandera and the mystique that it has. So, Richard.
Well, what a wonderful turnout. Well, we didn't really argue that much. We just kind of did what we were told. And it turned out really good, if I do say so myself. I think it's pretty close. Was it yesterday or the day before that some of Mingo's family was here? Yeah, right here. And which was really, really cool to come back and help celebrate all this for Robert. Robert, I've been a fan of yours. I mean, I can't remember not listening to your music. I do know your songs, if that helps, Lee. But thank you, everybody, for coming. We're going to go across the street here in just a little bit, and everybody's welcome. Thank you.
One other thing I'd like to say is there's a lot of vendors that came here today. This is a taste of Bandera. So if you will buy your lunch and all of that and support these guys, they would deeply appreciate that. And thanks again for coming. And if you want to join us across the street, we're going to go over and look at the magnificent paint job that's on the new building.